Good afternoon. Can you all hear me all right at the back? Big commerce team? Great. Listen up. So thank you very much for coming. Hope you've all had a good lunch. I've got quite a lot to get through this afternoon. As David said, we've worked a long time together. I'm Ed. I look after payments and partners here at Visualsoft, which is a blend of an e-commerce platform with an agency to try and help drive merchant growth online here in the UK. We talk about supercharging growth. I want to focus on a couple of ways that you can get growth for your customers, for your merchants in the room, drive ROI and help secure future for your businesses with VS Pay. And payments might not be the sexiest topic in the day-to-day, but I think it is important. We're talking about money, how to drive business forwards. So I think it's highly relevant for everyone today. I want to start with a few top-level stats about the UK economy and how things are progressing as we see it at Visualsoft Online. To give some context, we process about £1 billion of merchant revenue here in the UK for about 800 merchants. So we see a lot of volume going through and across all sorts of different touch points in the ecosystem. So we're a smallish audience today, so it'd be nice to have some participation, I think. If I go through some of these stats, do shout out if you have any ideas what the highest percentage of online shopping might be in the world, for example. So the United States, you might think might be the highest. It's not the US. Not Germany? No? Okay, we've got to rush through this, but not any of those countries. It is the UK, and actually we're approaching 30%, we reckon, in this year alone. So there's a huge amount of online shopping opportunity here in the UK, which might surprise some of you. Now, there are something like 55 million UK residents of a shopping age in the UK. How many of those might you think might shop in the next 90 days? 60%. 60%? Okay, close to that. 51 million of those, 55 million will shop online. So 92%. And that little map on the left-hand side is showing all the raining spots today, which is great. And you might think that there's a young demographic of people shopping online. So when we look at the demographics going across the landscape here in the UK, it's not just young millennials or Gen Zs, as you might think by some of the brands being promoted today. There's a huge gap, and the average age in the UK is 40 shopping online. So there's a huge captive audience to go after. So it does decrease by age, but not much. 65 and over, 87% there. Huge audience. But there are some barriers to buying online. Some of these have been talked about today, and it is very important that there are certain barriers that merchants can cater for and tailor specifically to themselves, which we as a platform don't have huge control over. So delivery charges, price comparisons, availability of product, returns policies. What we as a platform here in the UK can cater for is things like the checkout process or the bad UIs or the complex user experience. There's a lot of coverage today about a lot of different areas of the consumer journey. We see a lot of them as a platform, but I really want to focus on the payments piece. It is the last point in the journey where a consumer actually transacts money with you. There's a contract bound for your products and services that you're selling. For us, it's a critical part of that journey. There are lots of ways to engage with customers earlier on in that journey or after that journey has happened and someone's paid for a product. But payments to us at the moment, we've done a lot of work around in the last couple of years, is critical. And it's that last point in the funnel that you can really optimize your experience for consumers. Before we get into some of what we've done with VS Pay specifically and with Stripe, I wanted to talk about the overall experience and why customers will buy from you. So I've got a couple of tips that I want you to take away from today if you can, and then we're going to dive into some of the payment side of things. So a couple of areas here. So first, we've seen today a little bit about design. We pride ourselves here on award-winning websites at Visualsoft. We've got, like I said, about 1,000 sites for 800 merchants. Design is critical. That first touch point of a consumer on your site, if they want to stay on the site and you want to engage with them, get the design right. It's got to be mobile, it's got to be fast. We've seen that today. Beyond the checkout and the payments, which we'll get onto, we want to offer great support. We want to make sure we delight customers. But like I said, we'll get into payments today. 17% of consumers do not transact because of a clunky payments process. So you've done all this great work we've heard about today with Salesfire and some of the solutions here to convert as many customers into that funnel as possible. Merchants are losing them at the last point in that journey. And 86% of shoppers abandon their cart because their favorite payment option is not there. That experience looks like this. And this is someone really dissatisfied with their experience. Their payment's probably not gone through. They've had a really clunky experience. They're not offering Apple Pay, Google Pay. They're not offering buy now, pay later. We want to turn that around and make it into this sort of expression. Okay? So a really delightful experience for a consumer who has just been wowed by that experience on a checkout. They've had a great experience on the website, and they've got all the way through that funnel, through the overlays we talked about with Salesfire, and all these captive points to get to the point of payment, and now they are ecstatic. Now, why do we want to see that face and not the one before that? It's because whilst you might get 27% of customers returning after one purchase, it goes up exponentially as you get more people back onto your site. Give them a great purchasing journey, give them a great onward journey, you will get customers back to you. So that's the repeat purchase percentage. Up to 62% will come back a third time if you like them. Turn that into pounds or dollars in this case, it just grows exponentially. So your profit starts to grow per customer the more times you can get them back onto your store. Now, we've talked about customers returning. What about those that return after a bad experience? Any guesses in the room? How many customers, what percentage of customers might come back on your site if they have a really poor experience on the site, on the payments, on the checkout?
0.
Okay, 12% will return. Now that sounds tiny, but it's a huge proportion that won't return. And it's that number that you need to be bothered about. There's lots of conversion chat today. But more than that, those 88% that return will grow exponentially in those who give a negative piece of feedback to more people. So you've got one customer giving negative experience, with a negative experience, giving 16 people that negative experience vibe, if you like, and they will not come back again and again. This just grows exponentially, as you can see. Another person comes into your site, bad experience, bad payment experience, bad customer experience past the checkout, you're going to have this sort of experience. So the message here today, beyond payments, is get your new customers, great, engage with them, but keep them. So at Visualsoft, we do a lot of work with a lot of partners. We're a platform, we engage with lots of them. I like to think of us as more of a hybrid SaaS platform. We've heard about open, we've heard about closed. We're somewhere in the middle. So we try and preference our partners in the platform. So you can see in the center here, we've got what we call VS partners. They're branded, they're core in our platform, part of our license fee. We then go broader than this. So we give merchants choice, but curated choice, so that these partners are the ones that matter to us most and can deliver the most value to the merchants that we support on our platform, which are typically in the SMB market. Going into the payment space, which we've done in the last couple of years, this is what we look like. So we've got a couple of key premier partners who are some of the best in the UK and the world. PayPal, obviously well used here, Amazon Pay, Checkout.com, etc. And we thought we could do a little bit better than some of these. So we then layered in our own platform product, VS Pay, powered by Stripe. This was no mean feat. We did this through an extensive, in-depth RFP process that spanned about a year with external consultants and our own team of experts internally, working with our merchants to get just the right product for them. And what it delivered was a set of expectations that we wanted to deliver that we knew had to deliver for merchants here in the UK. We wanted something that give merchants, when they're using our platform, global scale, a single cohesive experience, delight shoppers, as we've just seen, minimize fraud, which I'll get onto a bit, and be deeply embedded in our product. So the merchants could choose to use this VSP product and give themselves the best opportunities, or use one of our premier partners. And that was actually great. We did an event last week, which was all around our anniversary. We're about a year old with this. We launched on the 15th of September last year, when I probably should have been looking at what my kids were up to, but I was actually scrolling through my phone, tracking the first ever transaction. But this was the culmination of a huge amount of effort from all parties within Visualsoft, as well as Stripe. And I want to touch on why we chose to work with Stripe. I'm sure, has any of you used Stripe in the room before? Any of you heard of Stripe? Great, so a few kind of hands there. So we are powered by Stripe, and we say this intentionally. We call out our partners all the time. Some of our merchants here in the room will recognize that when we partner with someone, we say it, and we are proud about it, and we say very clearly why. There's good reasons why we partner with Stripe to build VS Pay. Its scale is like unprecedented in the world, basically. I mean, there's only a couple of other payment providers who come close to what they've achieved recently, and they're 10 or something years old. Huge amount of uptime, gives us confidence as a platform, gives our merchants confidence as well. We got together to solve some really critical problems that merchants we see every day face on our platform. Cart abandonment at the checkout, high payment decline rates, losses from fraudulent transactions. And for us, crucially, we want a partner that we can develop at scale with and fast. Now, some of you might realize that the landscape of payment solutions has just grown exponentially over time. You know, a lot of our merchants still today think that credit debit cards are the one payment solution to offer to our merchants. It's now grown into a world that is sort of somewhat unrecognizable, actually, if over the last couple of years. So you've got buy now, pay later, you've got credit debit cards, you've got finance solutions, you've got WeChat Pay, you've got all sorts of different solutions you've got to cater for. It's very hard in the SMB space to manage a tech stack of all these different payment providers through multiple different payment solutions. So we aim to enrich our merchant shopping experiences and consumer shopping experiences with VS Pay. I wanted to give some context to this. So in the last day alone, we've done about 350 odd grand, 5,000 odd orders, which is about 85 new customers in the last hour alone using VS Pay, which is great. It's like good numbers, and I think it lacks context slightly. So I thought, well, we are at the Belfry, so let's turn that into golf balls. Okay, so there's about 100,000 golf balls that you can buy with a day's worth of VS Pay, or 90 memberships, pretty pricey, if I'm fair, at the Belfry. If you're not into golf, like I'm not a big golfer, I'm a G, and a bit more into like Jack Grealish time, 9 days of his time. So, what you want to get up to is up to you, but it does give you some context about what we're doing here. And we're trusted by a great amount of merchants on our platform already. So 230 odd merchants committing about £130 million of annual processing to our platform. And the key reason why I show you these stats is not to brag about the amount of volume we've got on our platform. It's because I want to show you that the merchant revenue matters to us as a platform. And it's all about us delivering services and capabilities to our merchants to help them grow. And obviously we grow on the back of it. Now, the state of European checkouts is awful. 91% of basic errors are seen across the top 100 sites in each territory that was analysed in this study by Stripe and Edgar Dunn. Now, if you put that into context, there's 5 key areas that merchants tend to fail. This is not sort of universal. Check yourselves. Think, do you do some of these or do you not do some of these? And I'll run down some stats. 64% of sites don't allow customers to save payment details to have a speedy checkout next time they come back on. 86% of customers said they frequently abandon the cart, as I said, if limited payment options are not there. So it's a real challenge for merchants to get this right. We help by offering localized payment solutions all out of the box. We ensure that merchants and consumers can give one-click solutions to their consumers effortlessly. Consumers prefer 78% of the time to use one click. Merchants don't offer this. 64% don't offer one click, which is nuts. So VS Pay helps with simple out-of-the-box capabilities with Apple Pay, Google Pay, mobile responsive. It's fully global aware, dynamic with a single onboarding experience, and it's powerful. So it's fast, it's quick, it gets consumers to the end of their journey really, really effortlessly. Now we offer Link. It's got a 7% uplift in conversion when you just turn this feature on. And this is the speed. If you look at this little slide on the right-hand side as it pops in, 6 seconds it can take to check out now on one of our sites with this Link product. I know I've got 5 minutes left, but 6 seconds we can allow for. All right, so super quick. And that's done by putting an email address in, saving it, logging in. Very quick. If you don't offer buy now, pay later, do. 68% of people are more likely to buy when you offer it, and they just see a banner on the website. So if you're not doing that, then think about how you can make sure that's happening. There's a huge amount of customers to tap into here. Millions and millions and millions of customers start a journey on Klarna or ClearPay or on PayPal in their directories. If you're not on those, get on them, make sure you're visible. Is Q4 coming up? You're going to want to be invisible in all these new channels that are going to drive traffic to your sites. Now, fraud. Who's had chargebacks recently? There are a couple of merchants in the room here. Yeah, a few hands up. Huge, huge business. Fraudsters. There's a sort of slightly geeky developer trying to hack someone there. We are trying to counteract this with Stripe. Our merchants see this every day. There's 25% growth in fraud. We know that this is more sophisticated nowadays, and we're trying to counteract it. There are some tools to help. There's some really simple stuff you can do. What we try and do is leverage the partners we've got. So there's a chance that Stripe has seen a card, 91% chance that Stripe has seen a card, which is a huge proportion of cards. Obviously 3DS can help. This is simple, but it's adding a bit of friction to the journey. We try and pride ourselves in having AI and machine learning to help counter fraud so that you can get your approval rates up. Okay, friendly fraud is high. Make sure your descriptors are clear on your statements so that your customers know exactly who they bought off. My wife bought something the other day, had no idea who she bought from. Random statement description in her banking statement. and had to figure out who it was from. So simple things can be done. And in the platform, it's simple to see what's happening, but it's very comprehensive when it comes to the sophistication behind the scenes, keeping our merchants fraud-free. I've got a couple of minutes left, but the real impact we're now seeing with VS Pay having launched on our platform with Stripe, with all the adoption we've got, 37% uplift in conversion rate, just on the checkout alone for our merchants that we're seeing. 98% approval rates, and I'll show you how that sort of monetizes itself in a second. So pretty significant changes in what we can see. This is going from an industry average of 80 to 90%, and 25% usage of Apple Pay. Now, approval rates I want to touch on because it's important to check yours, work out what you're getting approved through your payment methods these days. You can change this one figure in red, and it's dramatic in terms of the increase in revenue, and that's from one payment solution. Okay, so this was a real customer. We changed them onto VS Pay, turning on features like Apple and Google Pay. Really big uplift, 170K in a year, and that's a 10 times ROI on the cost that was put into this. Now, Apple Pay, Google Pay enhance approval rates immediately due to their biometric two-factor authentication in place. So check if you've got these things on your site. So many sites don't still today. It's nuts. Now, that money that you see there, we talked about Jack Grealish earlier, does add a bit more time if you want to spend some more time with him. Okay, so, you can get up to some more crazy stuff. We don't just do VS Pay, and I've talked about it a little bit. Thanks for listening. We also work with PayPal, who are market leaders in payments, give a huge amount of customer confidence, and Amazon Pay as well. So do try and add these features onto your platforms and onto your websites if you've not got them already. They will help customers convert. And finally, I just wanted to share some stats. I'm going to skip through this and share some stats of one of our merchants. So this was an actual recently. Customer happiness, their NPS went up, basket abandonment dropped off positively, and they saw abandoned payments 45% reduction. So I'm going to leave it there. That's what we've got time for. Thank you very much. Speak to us later.